So let me start by saying I understand the motivation for these policies. I think the United States badly handled China's rise, especially its joining the World Trade Organization. We did not. It happened too fast. We did not have supportive policies in place. It was scarring for workers and for places, and it was thoughtless. People thought they were too optimistic. The economics profession had taught them the trade was good, and there were very few trade-offs to trade, and so we went into that with our eyes closed. And so the notion that we should be worried about the employment consequences of trade, the health of certain sectors, the welfare of communities, that's all. I agree with that. The Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the other day, cheaper televisions are not the American dream. And I agree with that too, right? There are things that are more important than low prices, like good jobs, and certainly you can sacrifice for a cause. So as a backdrop to rethinking trade policy, the notion that we are caring about these things, that we're acknowledging them other than simple efficiency, low prices, without thought to jobs, without thought to communities, without thought to strategic sectors, right? I'm 100% behind that. However, the policies that the Trump administration is currently adopting are policies that are really squarely fighting the last war. They are trying to recover sectors that we lost to China 20 years ago and that China has subsequently lost to Vietnam and Cambodia. China doesn't want to be making commodity furniture anymore. China doesn't want to be making tube socks and assembling dolls for children, right? China wants to be making artificial intelligence, fighter jets, telecommunications, electric cars, quantum computing, fusion power, solar generators, wind generators, solar cells, wind generators. And these are the sectors that we should be trying to preserve. And so as we're looking over our shoulder at what we lost, we're neglecting the incoming tidal wave of the future of incredibly vigorous competition of the likes we've never seen from a highly productive, highly advanced economy that, in addition to having lots of capabilities, also has lots of government policies in place to support advancements in those sectors, right? China announced, almost 10 years ago, China 2025, the sectors it wanted to dominate over the next decade, and it's largely succeeded in that area, and with a lot of government support, a lot of protectionist policies, but those things often are temporary. China massively subsidized electric vehicles, but now it's largely done doing that, and those industries have established a beachhead. They've reached scale. They're now the world leaders in those sectors. So we should be taking lessons from that. We should say, look, what sectors do we need to be focused on? Instead of saying, can we get manufacturing from 8% back to 10%, we should say, can we keep it at 8% instead of it falling to 4%? And the answer to that question will depend on, can we keep our auto sector going? Can we keep Boeing going? Can we keep Intel going? Can we keep Apple going? Can we build out capacity in the industries of the future, which are artificial intelligence, where we are ahead, but only by a little, quantum computing, fusion power, wind generation, solar generation, telecommunications, drones. Drones are now incredibly important to modern warfare, and yet we don't actually have indigenous capacity anymore to make them. Robotics will be essential to future industries, and the U.S. is, again, often the first mover in any of these technologies, and yet does not invest in its own capacity. So they go from universities to small startup companies to China without actually reaching scale here. And that is an enormous problem. Tariffs, just across the board blanket tariffs are not going to solve that problem. They're going to raise costs for US manufacturers because many things we have are made partly of imports. They're not going to protect specific sectors, and they create enormous investment uncertainty. Right? If you were thinking of where should I put my aviation plant, or where should I put my battery plant, you might have thought, well, I thought previously I should make it in Asia. Now I think now under the administration, I thought I should make it in the US. Now I think I should just wait. I don't know what the tariffs are going to be. I don't know what prices are going to be. This type of uncertainty causes business investment to freeze in its place. And that is what is going on now. So we could have thoughtful tariffs coupled with investments targeted at specific sectors that we want to build up and grow and maintain and expand capacity in, but that would look very little like what is going on at present.